Wall Street Memes Casino,
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.
This is Colin McGuigan for IFL TV. Delighted to be joined by Ariel Helwani.
This is the famous. I hear you all the time. I didn't realize you were with Eddie in Philly.
I was.
Watched it with Shakur.
What did you think of it?
You know, Eddie loves you guys. I thought he was legitimately mad at you.
It wasn't that. I have to ask the question sometimes.
No, I know, but
you understand?
It was like I felt like he felt like you were cramping his style. He's like, mate, I had him there. What are you asking these questions?
I think he still has them. I was trying to gauge an interest from Shakur as to is Eddie in front? Is De La Hoya in front?
Yeah, I mean, you think De La Hoya's ahead of Eddie? I can't see that.
No, that's what I was trying to gauge the interest from Shakur.
Sure. No, I thought it was good. You started asking him about the fit though, which was weird. I mean, like you have Shakur standing in front of you. What are you asking about his fit?
I actually wasn't. There was a company called Drip, shout out Drip, who asked me if they could at the same time to get a video of him talking about his fit. So I didn't want it to eat into my interview time with Eddie, so I had to think on the spot.
I watch all the time. I enjoy it. I enjoy your stuff very much.
Appreciate it. Ariel, actually, we were just talking about you watching IFL and noticing that prize guy who are sponsoring Bellator and some of those fighters.
Yes.
So you're a big IFL fan?
I watch, yes, and I've said this before. I watch the videos all the time. I love the ones with, obviously, with Eddie and Frank. I do think that if I may, I think the YouTube headlines are a little bit suspect. It's like, Eddie goes off on Simon Jordan for the 400th time. I'm like, all right, yeah, let's watch it. Okay, 8 minutes in, he says like a word about Simon Jordan. But you get me. You know, fair play. You get me every time, and I enjoy it. I enjoy all the, like, I know you guys aren't UK only, but I enjoy all the, like, the British boxing and the UK boxing and the Irish boxing and the I love it all. I'm a huge fan.
Let's just get straight into this. This is a massive fight week for Jake Paul, someone who maybe doesn't get enough credit for stepping up when he could have really just sat out and waited on Mike Tyson.
Yeah, like he has that date, and it's on Netflix, by the way, which is a gigantic platform. And he could have fought like another guy like Ryan Borland, who he just fought, you know, one of those fights like Andre August, and instead he's fighting like a dog, like a legit dog. I know some of the pro boxing fans maybe aren't so familiar with Mike Perry, but the guy he's wired differently. And so even if he doesn't win the fight, like a ton of things can happen. You could get cut. I know it's still 4 months away, but like you can twist a knee, you could twist an ankle, you could break a hand. Like a lot of things can happen even in a win. It's not just about the loss. And the loss would be, I think that would be disastrous. I personally think that the Tyson fight goes up in smoke if he loses. Meaning, I don't think that they take it off the table, but I think the interest in it goes like down here. So it's a huge risk, and I give him a lot of credit for that.
I want to ask you a question about Amanda Serrano because she's fighting an unknown quantity. You referenced it on stage. Yeah. Is that also risky going into a big fight with Katie Taylor that's a rematch that she wants to win and needs to win?
100%. They're both taking risks. I think Jake's risk is a little trickier than Amanda's, but I loved Stevie Morgan's demeanor up there. Saying like, we did it on purpose not to show any of my fights. There's no footage of me. She's fighting at home, so she's comfortable. She's the hometown favorite, we presume. And yeah, I mean, her life can change forever if she could pull this off. And how do you sell Amanda versus Katie if Amanda loses to Stevie Morgan? I don't think that you can do it. So that's a massive, massive risk.
Ariel, I want to get your thoughts on Ryan Garcia, someone that looks mentally troubled, looks as if he's at the moment having a tough time. You've been in this industry quite a while. You've dealt with all sorts of personalities. Where does Ryan rank amongst the people that you've dealt with, and do you believe that he does need help?
It's hard for me to say who needs help, and it's hard for me to rank, but obviously he has done a lot of things that are unsettling and troubling and upsetting. You know, the recent comments on I think he was on Live or some Spaces or whatever. Look, it's one thing to sell a fight. It's one thing to sell yourself. Like now you're venturing into, you know, racism and being offensive to people for no reason. There's nothing good that will come from that. Like, you don't like Devin Haney, you don't like his dad, whatever. Okay, talk about them. But like the other stuff is just reprehensible. And so yeah, the behavior has been a little bit troubling. And only he truly knows. Who am I to say who needs help? That was such a great performance against Devin Haney, and there were so many people who were saying he shouldn't fight on that night, and look at what he did. And who knows if he knowingly had Austrian in his system or not. All I hope is that he can be in a good spot, get his life together, and then I think the rematch would be one of the biggest fights of the year by far. I mean, the rematch, it could only happen in April of next year, but holy smokes, like imagine that build up, right? So I like Ryan a lot. I think he's a good person. I think he has a good heart. But yeah, there's no denying that some of the stuff that has happened recently has been troubling, to say the least.
I want to get your thoughts on Conor McGregor's return to the UFC. We've seen him originally say September, now saying December. Do you believe, categorically speaking, that Conor McGregor will return to the UFC in 2024?
That's the plan. That's the plan. He wants it. If it was up to him, I think he would come back sooner, but the UFC has all their shows lined up. It's a little bit different than boxing where, you know, if AJ gets hurt, like him and Eddie sit down and they come up with a new date. It doesn't quite work that way because the UFC is such a behemoth and there's so many slots. And so the plan, like tentatively, is December, and there's a December 14th pay-per-view. And my friend Chisanga asked Conor today in Marbella. He was there for the BKFC press conference, and he asked him about December, and he said, that sounds good to me. So that's the plan, and I hope it happens. I hope it happens for him. I hope it happens for Michael Chandler. I hope it happens for the fans, because obviously a lot of people have been waiting for this fight for a long time.
Will you be involved in the UFC event at the Sphere, Ariel? We've obviously seen you had a little bit of beef with Dana, but obviously with the Saudis coming in now, does that change things?
Well, I haven't had any recent beef with the UFC. You know, it's
a long-standing thing.
Yeah, no, but we're good. We're good. We're in great standing. Will I be involved? No, I don't work for the UFC. I don't work for ESPN, so I won't be involved.
Will you be there in some capacity? Is the question?
No, I haven't gone in a while, but Turkey did invite me. Shout out to the big man Turkey. But I don't know. I will be at the Wembley card. I'm looking forward to that. The AJ card against Dubois. That's a great card on paper, so I will be there. And it's July. I'm going to the Olympics next week. I'm going to cover the Olympics for the CBC, the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, all right? None of this crazy fight stuff. I'm going to the big time, all right? So I don't have time to think about fighting. I'm taking a little break from the fighting. Actually, I'm not. I'm doing my shows from there, but I will be covering the Olympics. I'm going on Tuesday.
Let me throw two more questions
at you. The only media member who will have covered Jake Paul, Mike Perry, and also the Olympics in person.
Absolutely. There's not one more person.
Very good chance.
Ariel, obviously we've got a massive card in LA, Terence Crawford against Madrimov. How do you believe Terence Crawford fares against Israel Madrimov?
I think he wins that fight, and then I hope we get Boots versus Crawford.
A lot of people are saying Crawford Canelo, though, before Boots.
Nah, give me Boots first. It's too big of a gap. I don't want to see a 47/54 pounder fight a 168 pounder. Too big of a gap. I want to see Boots and Crawford are essentially the same weight class at this point. So that to me is the fight. Don't get me wrong. I would, Canelo Crawford. Like I'm there, I'm watching it. It's fantastic. But I would love to see Crawford Ennis first, and then Canelo down the line. Like I'd be more interested. I know this is a bit of a crazy thought, but like I'd be more interested in Crawford Bivol. I know that's not happening. Than Crawford. Than Crawford against Canelo.
Final one for me. You referenced AJ Dubois.
I mean Canelo Bivol. You get what I'm saying? The rematch, as opposed to.
I figured that.
Yeah, Crawford. I screwed that up.
Last one from me. You mentioned AJ Dubois. AJ's come under a lot of criticism recently. They're talking about, is his chin there? Simon Jordan specifically. I'm sure you see my bit with Eddie.
Now AJ's getting criticism.
What do you make of that?
I can't wait for the headline. Simon Jordan is up. No.
That is the headline.
By the way, how could you criticize AJ now? He's on the best run of his career, arguably. I mean, he's had some great runs. There's nothing to criticize him now. The link up with Ben Davison has been amazing. He's looked fantastic. I did have Zhilei Zhang, thanks for the plug, in studio on my show yesterday. You didn't watch that, but IFL did give me a little graphic.
I did watch it.
Yeah, whatever. Zhilei Zhang said that, mark my words, AJ will never fight me. And I know they fought in the amateur days, obviously in the Olympics 2012. I would love to see that fight. Zhilei impressed me. Like he was really good on the mic. He was
He's a funny character, and people don't get to see that side.
Yeah. Obviously, because he doesn't speak English, but he understands everything. You could tell he understands when you're saying it. He's just waiting for Kurt to translate. In any event, that's going to be fun. An all-British clash at Wembley. I think it's going to be great, but I don't know how you can criticize. Like if you're criticizing AJ at this juncture in his career, right now, on the streak that he's on, you're just being a hater.
Does AJ win against Daniel Dubois?
Oops, sorry, there was a bug there, and I hit your thing at the same time. I'm working that card, so I can't make predictions, but maybe.
You can break it down for us, though.
I think it's a great fight, but I think don't sleep on Dubois. Actually, Zhilei thought that Dubois might win too. When Dubois lost to Joyce, I thought it was very unfair how people were saying he was a quitter and he doesn't have the heart. What do you say about him now? You see that performance against Hrgovic? It maybe just took him a little bit more time to evolve and mature and develop. But look at how he's looked as of late. And so I don't think put it this way, of all the fights that AJ has had recently in this run, which dates back to the Ben Davison link-up, and then, of course, after, Dubois will be the toughest one by far. Tougher than Otto Wallin or Robert Hellenius or Jermaine Franklin. And I love Francis, but obviously we know how the fight went. This will be the toughest fight, in my opinion.
Ariel Helwani, always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Wall Street Memes Casino,
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.